Good evening, and welcome to Grace Space. At Grace Space, we take an holistic approach to health and healing. We want to nurture you mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Every week, we start with prayer. Lord, we thank you for this day. We are grateful that when we were tormented by grief, Lord, you gave us grace. And despite the turbulence and turmoil in and around us, we are still here. And so we thank you, and we ask you to release us from those things that bind us and bring us to the bounty of your blessings. And again, we thank you for getting us through what we've been through. And we are grateful that we are still here. Amen. I want to check in with everybody and make sure that we are doing all right. I pray that everyone had a safe holiday. I know I'm grateful for Traveling Grace and Mercy, that people that traveled far and near, that I know, my friends, family, loved ones, everyone was able to travel to get to and from safely. And I pray that the same is true for each of you. And so, does anyone have anything they want to share with us? Holidays went okay?
Yes, holidays went okay over here.
Okay. I want to acknowledge that we are all going through something, but we're going through it and we're getting through it, and we're going to keep pressing on. We're going to lean on each other, we're going to lean on the Lord, and we're going to go and grow beyond where we are at this moment. In honor of the holiday, I wanted to play a part of an interview that I did with someone, with a musician, and then I'm going to follow it up. He has a holiday release, and so I'm going to follow it up with that release. The gentleman's name is Ivan Adams, and we're going to play the initial interview, which was back in August.
Sure. I'm from a small town in southern West Virginia, a little town called Bishop. It was a wonderful place to grow up, very conservative environment. It was truly blessed. My mother and father, they were strong Christians. They raised us up in a good Christian household. There was a lot of love. I got to tell you, I look at that picture, calling Shirley Adams every day, and I'm very grateful that God blessed me to have those parents. I'm very grateful that God blessed me to have those parents. And then also, be brought up in a community where there was a lot of love. There was a lot of support. You went to church every Sunday. And generally 1 or 2 days during the week. It's called Junior. And is my father's namesake. Now, he came from Vietnam. You know, of course, gospel music, church music was a big part of our lives. I also listened, exposed me to big band music, so, Jamie Lunsford was his favorite, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Benny Goodman. I got inundated with that. Got a great love for singers such as, Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, all the way up. And then for my brother, and of course, R&B and rock was in the 60s, was really taking off. And so as a young kid, I'm kind of like, ooh, look at all of this different music and you're learning. And you're just being a sponge. But when my brother came, he had, your basic R&B stuff, like the Temptations and, Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye and that whole group, Diana Ross. He had all of that kind of music. But he also introduced me to Burt Parker, Sonny Rollins, Miles Davis, Yamai Deodato. I mean, I was listening to stuff that the average kid wasn't listening to. And that opened up a window for me that it's just part of my DNA. And I can't explain it. I was a kid listening to really, hard jazz, bebop, straight ahead jazz. And that opened a window to me that led me, to artists like Ramsey Lewis, George Duke, Stanley Clarke, John Patterson, Tucci, Jaco Pastorius, Weather Report. My favorite jazz group, Return to Family. Absolutely love it. But it opened the doors to fusion jazz. And I've loved that style of jazz since I first heard it. And you hear it in my music. You hear the influences in my music. And I fell in love with the bass at that very young age. It was just something about the bass guitar that just moved me.
That was Let's Walk. Now we're going to hear a bit of Hey You. So that was songs from two of his CDs. And his music is available on Apple Music. Now, he recently did a holiday CD. And so I'm going to play a little bit of that.
We're jamming in the holidays so we can chase our blues away. Starting with the Thanksgiving Day, lazy flow, ending with the New Year's Times Square toast. In between is Christmas where we thank God for those that we love the most. We're jamming in the holiday, rocking to Mariah almost every day, laughing with all our friends, sharing the same old tales again and again. There's Santa and his reindeer, Grandpa's eggnog and his Christmas cheer. Let's jam in the holiday. 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 We're jamming in the holiday with the funky bass line and marketplace. Jelani and Holly have a soul sound, while Kurt's little drummer boy just throws down. We're jamming in the holiday where all the hip people play. Jazz in the holiday. Let's jam in the holiday. Let's jam in the holiday.
Okay, so just wanted to introduce you to some new music and reacquaint you with some music that you might have heard. We did the interview with, again, his name is Ivan Adams, and he's done 4 CDs. He did one in 2012 called Ivan and Friends, and then he did one in 2017 called Lucky 7. And the Lucky 7 song, he named the album Lucky 7 because he was one of 7 children. And he felt that they were lucky and blessed to have the parents that they had. And in early 2023, he released South Africa, which was a multicultural CD. And then Jazzing in the Holidays is a recent release. Does anyone want to share some of the music that reminds them of the holidays? Either music or certain traditions.
Jada?
Uh-huh.
Hey, this is Adrian.
Hey.
I love the holidays because one of the things I love about the holidays is the music. I was just talking to somebody today, and I was just saying how, they're starting to play the Christmas music. It's after Thanksgiving, and I was listening to a music channel, and they started playing Christmas music. I mean, it started with the children's Christmas music and the chipmunks, and I just love Christmas music. It just does something to my spirit, and it just puts me in a good place. I mean, I'm not talking about just spiritual music. Everything, like I said, the chipmunks, jingle bells, to the more spiritual ones. It just does my heart, from the beats to the music to the words to the song. It's just all positive. And I'm not listening to some of this, what I call rowdy music. It just does something to me. Just the whole concept of celebrating Jesus during this time.
Yeah, and I know for me, I remember the Christmas pageants at church where you would get your little Bible verse.
That's
and
right.
You would go up and we'd line up. And for a lot of us, that was our first experience with public speaking.
That's right.
You'd stand up there, and the Sunday school teacher would help you prepare. Your parents would help you prepare. And you would say your Bible verse, and then you'd get a candy cane.
I was thinking of last night. I don't know why this came to my mind, but I'm glad that it did. I'm usually the one over the Christmas program, and it was a little girl, I think she was 3, and I used to tell the parents, especially the young kids, when they're like, "Oh, she doesn't want to do it." Well, you know what? Just stand up there with her, because when she's home, the parent was telling me, "Oh, she knows her part, but she's not going to get up in front of everybody." And so I said, "Go with her," and she didn't go with her. Her dad went with her. And she stood up there, and you know how they do. They get up there and they say 2 words, and then they, Christmas. and I poked Dad. I said, "Go get her." And he stood up there, and he held her. She was 3 years old, and put the mic to her. He said, "You know it. Say it." And then she said, "Christmas is a time of," she said it was like 3 lines that we give them. We don't give the little ones too many lines. And then everybody cheered, and I started clapping real loud. So our whole church just started clear. And she lifted her head off her father's. She had a neck. You know how they bury their neck in the daddy's neck, bury their head in daddy's neck. And she picked her head up and had this biggest grin on her face. And he put her down, and she walked off with such pride. And later I told her mom, I said, "See what I mean?" And she goes, "I can't believe we probably won't be able to speak to her without getting her autograph later." But it teaches them. It puts them in a mold to public speaking and not being fearful. But a lot of times parents, and I was one of them. I got up there and cried, and my mother said, "Come on, sit down, honey." And it was like 10 years before I got up on anybody's stage again, because she coddled me instead of convincing me to get up and do my little speech.
And for me, it was the songs. My family knows Christmas is coming when I pull out that Motown Christmas CD.
Oh, yes, you too.
That kind of sets the tone. And like you said, there are Christian songs and gospel Christmas albums that I listen to, as well as what would be considered secular music.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in a home where my parents would get a live Christmas tree, and to this day, my mother has never had an artificial tree. And it was about getting together to decorate. It was never about the stuff. I did not grow up. I know some people that their kids have so much stuff that they tear through gifts. There's no appreciation at all. And for us, there were a few gifts, but it was special. So whatever we got, we were grateful for. And then there was the giving back. There was the, going to volunteer, to feed other people, the purchasing gifts for children or seniors that didn't have gifts. Those were the things that delighted me. I love the decorations. And when I was growing up, there was a department store, John Wanamaker's, and they would do this amazing Christmas display with the lights, the animated characters, everything. And that was part of the treat, was going down there. And then you had the people outside selling the hot pretzels, the soft pretzels, and the warm chestnuts. And so that was all part of the process, and then hoping that you would get some snow. But at the root of it was honoring the birth of Jesus, but also the joy of giving, the celebration. And again, I know that over time it became very materialistic, and so a lot of people don't celebrate Christmas for religious reasons. And I understand that, but for us, it was religious, but it was also secular. The trees, the decorations, and all of that. I recently saw a post by a dear friend, and I wanted to read part of it regarding the holidays. She said that as a kid with parents, family, friends, and neighbors who did the most for holidays, I would excitedly anticipate the last 3 months of the year: Halloween in October, Thanksgiving in November, my birthday and Christmas and New Year's in December. But under the excitement, there was always a little anxiety that I couldn't quite describe. I just know that I didn't feel overwhelming joy. It seemed like the conversation at hand between kids and adults alike were about how much food or candy you had, how many gifts you received, who got the most expensive gift, how many different types of cakes, pies, and cookies were baked, who had the biggest guest list, what outfit you were wearing for the holidays, who was traveling to where, who put their tree and decorations up the earliest, or how many trees one had, etc. It sometimes felt intentionally and unintentionally competitive, like you were trying to outdo everyone. I was perfectly content with my situation until others would relay their experiences in a way that made me feel excluded rather than included. I felt compelled to follow their lead, even when I knew it wasn't the right thing to do. It's crazy how ingrained this behavior is in the psyche of people. For me, the older I got, the more the holidays became obligatory, exhausting, and overwhelming, instead of fun and energizing. There was so much adrenaline preparing for the holidays. Oh, goodness, I lost. There we go. There was so much adrenaline preparing for the holidays, waking up early in the morning of the big day and getting gifts unwrapped or food on the table, and then a big letdown when everyone went back to their lives after the season ended. Rarely was the meaning of the holiday discussed because it was overshadowed by commercialization. I felt like something was wrong with me, but I kept my feelings to myself as not to be off-putting. Once I realized the why of my holiday woes, it took years to change it for me and my family because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. Now that my parents have passed away and my kids are adults, I've pushed myself hard to make these times what I want them to be. I'd rather have minimum fuss and maximum chill. I relish the time away from work and spending time with my family without a production. I like having the capacity to live in the moment, reflect, and be grateful for what my life has been and for what I hope it will become. I don't buy pounds of candy or even hand out candy for trick-or-treaters. Instead, we ordered takeout, and for Thanksgiving, we ordered takeout, turn off the outdoor lights, and embrace the lack of the dogs barking and all of that. I don't get excited about decorating the house inside or out or planning or preparing a big meal. Instead, I move at my own pace, and if something isn't done, everything will be okay. There's no waking up early in anticipation of parades or taking pics of gift openings. I don't buy matching pajamas and worry about convincing everyone to wear them. It's come as you are when you wake up. There's no endless gifts under the tree, yet everyone has what they want. There's no standing in line in the cold for Thursday night Black Friday sales, but there may be some online shopping. And I leaned in hard for this Thanksgiving, and I'm glad I did. I hadn't been on a vacation during the holidays in at least a decade. There was no decorating, cooking, dishwashing, or entertaining others. It was sun, relaxation, good food, beverages, and no cleanup. I hope you spent your holiday the way you wanted to spend it and that you felt loved and appreciated while also giving thanks. And again, that was a post from my friend Kim. And I thought a lot about what she said. And as we're here talking tonight, I want to ask you, are the holidays what you want them to be or what you think they should be? Does anyone want to share a thought or opinion?
I hate to be the one to talk all the time, but holidays to me, as an adult, is what I want them to be. You know, growing up, it was what was put in front of me. You know, of course, as a child, I just want toys. But as I grew older and appreciate what holidays mean, and I want to just say Friday, either this Friday or next Friday, I'm going to talk about, I learned some things because I've been studying it about the evergreen tree and why they're used, why we decorate them for Christmas. And there is a meaning that is connected to Christ, of the evergreen tree. And I was reading through it. I was like, well, this is interesting, because I look it up every year, and I've never seen this particular. So if you're able to come on Friday and hear the story of why the evergreen tree is used during Christmas. But I just like to research things like that. But it's just, like I said, Christmas to me a long time ago stopped being about gifts, and it started being about what kind of, not necessarily physical gifts. And another thing I thought about while you were talking, I met some people over the past few years, and I love this idea. Parents who have their children get a lot of toys all year round, and we're not getting any Christmas presents. You learn to share what you have, and they teach them what Christmas and giving is about. And the kids every year, they go and get their toys that they haven't played with most of the time, and they wrap them up and they donate them to other kids. Sometimes in their class, sometimes in the neighborhood. And I thought that was an awesome idea, because it's teaching them two things: not to be selfish, mine, and to be giving. So I like that idea.
I remember we used to spend Thanksgiving with a family in Florida, the Hall family. And they used to cook. It was the Halls and the Dells, and large extended family, and they would cook up so much food. And they would set the tables up. They would open the garage door, and they would have the table set up with the food. And as we were eating, these two men walked up, and they said, hi, how you doing? And they said, Mr. Hall told us that we could come here and get a meal. And Zoe's dad volunteered at the homeless shelter, and he had told them that on Thanksgiving they were welcome to come by the house. And so that's what they did. And to me, that was such a beautiful example of someone actually living their faith. They came, they were welcome, they sat with us and ate, and they also got to-go packages. And often it's the little things. I recently saw something, and they call it care packages, where you just take a Ziploc bag and you put items like socks, so toiletries,
right.
and money, and you put it in a Ziploc bag. And Adrian, I don't know if you had mentioned this on one of your shows, but people say they have it with them. And so as they're going through their day or driving down the street, it's something you can hand out to someone you may see on the street. And I thought that's a beautiful thing. I think it's interesting that everybody wants to give and do during the holidays. And I talked with someone at one of the schools, and she said while they appreciate that often people are giving what they think you need instead of asking what you need. And also we need to recognize that there is an ongoing need.
Right,
that
year round.
People don't just need at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so I think it's important that, we are thoughtful about these things. Another thing that I'd like to mention is the celebration of Kwanzaa.
Mm-hmm. And
just being knowledgeable of it. When you think about the principles of Kwanzaa, umoja, unity, to strive and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Kujikalia, self-determination. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Humba, creativity. And Imani, faith. Those are our ideals that are very important. They're important individually, and they're very important collectively. And I think that, again, just knowing these concepts and sharing this knowledge with other people is very, very important. I don't know how many of you were able to be on the call last night for the King's Roundtable. But one of the things I truly honor about this network and this opportunity is the desire to bring people together, to share knowledge, and most importantly, to connect, not only with each other, but with the broader community. And I want to give a special shout out to Leon, because the subject that he talked about and the purpose behind it, we have got to be intentional about how we live, how we flow, and how we grow. And to be able to share knowledge, to connect with each other, and to connect with other people. And with the opportunity now to be on YouTube, it's important that we strengthen ourselves, we strengthen each other, and we strengthen our community. Leon, I don't know if you have a minute to just talk about what you did and why you did it.
Yeah. Because we need to reach our kids, and we can't put that kind of information in nobody else's hands but our own. So we should be teaching our own kids what we should be doing, because if not, life lessons is going to teach them, and that don't always end up good. And so also when it comes to us, we have to do better too with us, because as Ms. K said, you got 90-year-old people coming up with sexually transmitted disease, 90 years old. And so we also have to do better too. So for me, I'm going to always advocate for that, just because of my friends. So, and thank you. I appreciate all the kind words that you gave yesterday, and today. The kids, saving these kids is what I've been doing for almost 40 years. 40 years. So, a little bit left in me. So that's what I'm going to be advocating for our kids. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what they're going through, what they got, what they ain't got, where they came from. Doesn't matter to me. I'm all about saving all of them if I can.
And I think that it's important that as we strengthen ourselves, that we strengthen each other, and also find a way to build community. The Stevie Wonder song, "Love's in Need of Love Today." There is so much hurt, pain, loneliness. And it's strange because in some ways we have more means of connecting than we ever have. But there's something about that community, about laying eyes on people, about touching people, that we're lacking. And we have to utilize all the tools available. As you go through your day-to-day, understand that the fact that you acknowledge someone, that you smile at them, that you show appreciation, can make a world of difference. This has been a very tough year for a lot of us. Between the struggles that we've gone through internally, mentally, just not feeling quite right, not being able to have clarity of thought, the internal struggles, feeling unmoored, feeling like you're just being tossed and turned. And whether it's anxiety, depression, stress, this year has caused an increase in that for most people. Some of us have gone through financial instability, where we weren't getting enough in, but a lot was going out. Some of us, just our physical surroundings, we were not safe, either emotionally, physically, or mentally, in our environment. Sometimes the people close to us were not caring and were verbally or physically abusive. Sometimes our bodies just started to break down. So as we go towards the end of the year, most of us have been through some things. Some of us have lost family members or friends. Some of us have been under immense emotional stress. And so I want to say, I'm grateful that you're still here. As I look back over the year, I know that I've had some valley experiences. And there were times when life just seemed overwhelming. When it weighed so heavy, it felt like I couldn't breathe. And I'm grateful for that peace that came, for that clarity of thought, for the support that came, either close by or from a distance. And so if anyone else wants to take a moment to talk about, and if you don't have to give specifics about what you've been through, but just to acknowledge that you've been through some things, and the gratitude of being able to say, I'm still here.
That's
Would
right.
anyone like to share? Adrian, did you want to say something?
I'm trying not to. I don't want to be the only one speaking. But, yeah, people who know me know my journey this past 12 months have been more challenging than most, you know. And I try not to compare it to things, but I thank God because that's the only reason why, I know that's the only reason why I made it through with my sanity. I made it through with my head in the right place, and it was my focus on a higher power that kept me going, because it was the hardest period I have to look at in the 60 years I've been there. And I was very sickly as a child, and I've been through a lot of challenges. But those challenges made me who I am today. And it's just another step. I look at it as a step that put some more muscle in me and made me a stronger person and gave me a stronger desire to reach out and help my fellow man, because there were people there for me, you know. And I grew up with people. My mother was always somebody that helped other people, and I saw that. And when I saw how people reached out to help me in any way they can, you know, whether it was financially, whether it was physically, but sometimes it was just a kind, encouraging word that did it for me. So I'm grateful to those people that God allowed God to use them. Thank God for helping me get through it. And I thank God I'm not all the way out yet, but hey, I know that I'm getting there. So
very, very grateful.
So grateful.
You know, sometimes we look at other people's lives and they look so glamorous and exciting, but then you realize, or it comes out, that they're going through some things. Many of you may be aware of the situation with Keke Palmer. We don't know how prevalent domestic abuse, spousal abuse, truly is. The accusations of sexual assault that have been lodged against people in the entertainment industry. You know, there are demons all around us. And just the fact that our young people are struggling mentally, physically, emotionally, and more importantly, spiritually, is something that I pray about, I advocate for, and I look for ways and opportunities to support people. You know, and it's funny because I've run into some people that say that they are afraid of our young people. People that say that they care, but they don't feel comfortable going into neighborhoods where they feel the young men are disrespectful and out of control. And what I will say is, there are many ways to show up. So if you're not that person, if you don't feel safe going into West Charlotte, to go to the basketball court or the corner, to share your story and to help or mentor someone, then what I'm going to ask you to do is support the people that do. Find those men that are going into those schools and going into those communities, and figure out how to encourage and support them. Because we do have some good men and some good women that are on the battlefield. And every role is not your role to play, but we all have a part to play. in saving our community and saving our world. Now, is there anyone else that wants to talk about what they've been through, what they're going through, or how they made it through?
I would like to chime in real quick. I think, one of the reasons why I did the show last night too is because I was one of those kids that needed to be taught to. And so that's why I do what I do for the kids. I know how it was for them, because I know how it was for me. The other thing is, I think that we as people, and I'm talking to everybody on this line, have to do a little bit better when it comes to paying attention to each other, because we never know who's going through what on this line. Because I can remember just about 7 days ago, I woke up and a couple people rang my phone and I answered, which probably was the wrong thing for me to do. And I guess it ended up being the right thing to do, because I felt like I wanted to lay down and go to sleep and never wake up again. And by me saying that, it hurt the people that I had came in contact with. And what I didn't realize was how I was hurting them by even saying that. Even though I was feeling that way, something that I had went through. You just don't never know what one is going through or what one has been through. And so you have to be mindful. But I can say I appreciated the people who prayed hard for me, because they heard my pain down to the point people cried for me to make sure that I made it through. And prayer do work, because I'm on this phone still doing what I do. And so, but I'm human, and I have feelings, and I hurt also. And so I say all the time that I'm walking around with a bottle of Windex. When that mirror gets foggy, you got to squirt it and wipe it off with a piece of newspaper. And so we just have to do better with staying in touch with each other when we know or we hear someone going through something. Because I remember I heard Adrian just speak out, and I remember always reaching out to Adrian and calling her, checking on her, making sure she was all right. She probably got tired of me calling her, but I didn't care, because I wanted to make sure that she was going to be okay. And so I just think we just have to do a little bit better with, reaching out, staying in touch.
Okay, I'm not sure what's going on.
There's two things on.
Yeah, yeah, they must have left, whoever that was.
Okay, here we are. We're back.
Yes, I just think that we just need to try to do a little bit better when it comes to paying attention to each other. And I know some of the people that's on this line probably is not a part of the network. They just listen to the audience, and that's a great thing too. But these podcasters, we have many of them. It's therapy. I think it's therapy for me. I think it's therapy for a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
Come up to listen, maybe to express. Sometimes things get a little emotional, but this is judgment free. And so I just wanted to share. I've been through a lot of stuff. It's too much to even go through. I'm by the grace of Most High, I'm still here. I've almost died 5 times already, and that just came from physical health. Not nothing that I did out in the streets, just physically being sick. And I'm still here. And so what I want to say is thank you for the time and the space. Please, people, If you think you hear something, even if you think you hear something that ain't right, please, start talking and speaking out to that individual, because you never know when you can save somebody's life just by what somebody can say to you. Because 7 days ago, I was not in a good place, and the people that I got in contact with, they prayed for me and they pulled me through, and I'm still here today, and I'm grateful and I'm thankful for that. And I digress.
And again, we've got to be intentional about loving each other, supporting each other, praying for each other. Because that is what's going to save us. Knowing that you matter, that there's someone out there that cares about what you're going through, and that is going to pray with you and for you. Did you want to share something? Did anyone else have something to share?
I'm glad you said that, Jada, because this is Adrian again. What I heard a long time ago, and I kind of picked up on that line, and now today it's not just a line. It's something that I kind of live by. And they used to say in church, they used to say, the most you can do for another person, if you think there's nothing you can do to help them, if you know they're going through or know they need and you can't physically help them, the most you can do for them is pray for them. And intentionally pray for them. Once you do that, then, know that it's going to come to fruition and God's going to work it out. And, pray and believe, And I believe that, and I still believe that.
Definitely. I know that I am here right now because people prayed for me. And especially when I didn't have the sensitivity or wherewithal to pray for myself. That there were people in my family, in my community, I'll even say even in my peer group, there were some people that were spiritually solid enough to pray for me. And so for each and every one of you, I want you to know that you have a purpose in this world. And sometimes your purpose eludes you. Sometimes you're not quite sure why you're here. My prayer is that you will at least trust and believe that your life matters.
Mm-hmm.
There is work for you to do.
Yes, yes.
And that the rain's going to stop. I know people that have been through, in the past few months, have been through financial turmoil, emotional turmoil, people that have lost children, a son murdered. So you talk to your son on Friday night, and then early Saturday morning, you get a call that he's been shot and killed. A father that you're estranged from, but you love him and you know he loves you. And then you get a call that he's gone. Children that are mentally, physically, or emotionally distraught, and their parents can't get through to them. I have a friend whose son died from tainted drugs. From drugs laced with fentanyl that he didn't know were laced with fentanyl. And so the dangers are real. But it doesn't rain forever. And no matter what you are going through, know that we are praying for you. Know that we care. I love that song by Bill Withers, Lean on Me.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure that we are doing just that. That sometimes you're the shoulder that someone else is going to lean on, and sometimes you need to be the one leading. You are not going through this life alone. There is an altar where you can lay your burdens down, but there's also a circle community, a group of people that want the very best for you and are holding you close. And sometimes we are going to cry. Sometimes we need our tears just to cleanse our soul. We need to release it. And sometimes we're going to cry out. But morning is going to come. There will be peace. There will be joy. No matter how hard you're hurting, the pain is going to cease. It's not going to hurt so much. And the sun is going to shine again. Before I let you go, talk about the upcoming shows. At 7:30 this evening, we have the Pink Sofa. Let's see. First and third. I think this one is open to everyone. On Wednesday at 6 o'clock, No Longer Silent. At 8 o'clock, John Monroe with Vision Care. And at 9:30, Concerned Citizens with Everett and Hap. And Adrian, your show is on Friday, correct?
Correct, at 6 p.m.
Okay. And if you're unable to listen to the shows live, I want to encourage you to go on YouTube and to be able to listen to the shows there. Please remember to share the information with your friends and to continue to support Grown Folks Talk and Express Yourself. As we grow, we're going to have some growing pains, but we're going to keep pressing on. So tonight, I want you to remember that you are loved, you are prayed for, and you matter. And as always, in closing, wait, did we have somebody who wanted to say something? Forrest, did you want to say something before we close?
No, sister, just a good show, and I was just listening. And you got real low for a minute. I'm surprised Miss Adrian didn't pick up on it unless you're coming in loud and clear to her, Sister Jada.
No, I turned the volume up on this end.
Oh, okay, because you got real low, Jada, for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Struggling with some technical difficulties, but we're going to press on.
Oh, okay, sis. Just wanted to say it. No, it was a good show. I was just listening.
Okay. And always remember, grace looks amazing on you. Take care, be safe, and keep loving because love conquers all.
That's right.